Hello, everyone. I am really excited today to be interviewing Kath Mazzella. I said to her, I feel like I'm interviewing royalty. I mean, she just about has been with the royals, but anyway, you could talk about that. But Kath has written a book called Not So Secret Women's Business. She has founded International Gynecological Awareness Day, and the tagline is, "What's going on down under?" I love that. And you are on a mission. Your mission is to change the culture of the gynecological and sexual health landscape globally so that women can not only survive, but thrive. And the reason that Kath has set upon this journey is that she is a cancer survivor of a very uncommon female cancer. And so, Kath, with that, incredible, accomplishments behind you, welcome. And I would just love you to share your journey.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, Nick. I love to be able to share my knowledge so that other women can gain the knowledge to prevent it from happening to their mothers, sisters and daughters. Okay, you might have to interrupt and even ask questions yourself if you think so, okay? So my mother and two sisters had breast cancer, and I had an abnormal pap smear back in 1988, a long time ago. And then in 1992, I found a lump in my vulva. So I need to stop there and explain what a vulva is, because most women tend to think that the vulva is the vagina. But if anything else, I want everybody to learn today that a vulva is not a vagina, the same as a penis is not testicles. So, there's a big difference between a vulva and a vagina, but that's a long story there. So about 18 months later, after my abnormal pap smear, I had a lump next to my clitoris, which is found in the vulva, not in the vagina. And I went to two GPs and two gynecologists, and they said, "Oh, it's common, don't worry about it." And in the end, my mum said, "It's not normal." And I thought, "Mum, what would you know?" opposed to all these experts that read it in a book. But it turns out my mother was right. I asked for the lump to be removed, and it turned out to be cancer. And I had my clitoris, vulva, and lymph glands removed due to cancer.
Wow.
And I am lucky to be here 27 years later, to be sitting here talking. But let me tell you, there's other women, sadly, that have passed before my eyes, pleading with me to say, "Please, Kath, get this message out." And yet there's still, 27 years later, a reluctance to talk about this most important, not most important, but a very precious, precious part of our bodies, that mine was taken away and these other women's was taken away, but they died and I didn't die. And I feel obliged for those women and the other women currently having their vulva removed, and some having radiation and terrible, terrible treatments when it comes to the vulva. And this is what I'm asking women to question. Why is that so? So, I went home and there was me, myself and I thought, what happened here? But I went to women's organisations and it's like, only experts can talk about these things. We can talk about the breast, we can talk about everything, having babies, but not the vulva and not gynecology. And I thought, but why is it like this? I couldn't get my head around it. And I was very much ostracised by women in those days, especially high academic women, because it's like they knew the knowledge, but we can't share it with the other generation because it's too frightening. And some people are probably still afraid that I speak out as I do, and it'll be too scary for people. I mean, I've even got my life scrapbook, and I had a health scientist, a female health scientist, said to me, she said, "Even I find your scrapbook confronting, Kath." And I thought, but it's only about my life journey. But again, it's the way she's been socially programmed that that's how she, because I began to understand that the gynecologists were mostly male, and this is how they were taught. The women were taught, "Oh, it's scary, you don't need to know the knowledge." And so I've had to try and find a way to bring that together. And trust me, it's been damn hard work to do that. But then I discovered the word pudendum in the dictionary. And the Latin version of that word says, female genitalia, one who should and ought to be ashamed, the shameful part of a woman. So we all call it a vagina, walking around with all this shame. And when I hear women and even experts and medical experts calling a vulva a vagina, it just so irks me. And I want women to understand that I have not gone through this for nothing. I have gone through this so that your mother, sister, and daughter can be empowered with the knowledge. So I thought, I was pretty much ostracized by women's groups, and I found another lady who died of vulvar cancer at that time, another one, I accidentally found her, and I can't begin to tell you the power that it was for us two to connect together. But the gynecologist was not happy, it was the same gynae, that we were together, because he said it's too depressing. But then I understood that that's how the gynecologists are programmed, that, we can't have women being depressed and whatever. But you can see by the breast cancer women how powerful it is to all come together. But then I discovered my daughter had polycystic ovaries and endometriosis. I knew she suffered, but I thought, well, we all have pain during periods, and I didn't have the understanding, but now I do have the understanding. And then I thought, well, how can we bring the women together, and how can we bring the gynecologists, who are mostly males, together to walk in the same path? But there is still a lot, even today, there's still a lot of power play when it comes to gynecology. And eventually that will change, and I can see things are changing, even you allowing me to talk about this, and even you being a dietitian. If we as women could understand, I'm not very good at this myself, understand the foods and the emotions and everything that goes with it, affects our hormones, affects our cells, we can really get on top of this. But, I still think it's still a long way off. But anyhow, I thought there must be more women out there. So I put an ad in the Woman's Day, and Can We Help You line. And all these ladies wrote these horrific, horrible stories. And I thought, oh my God, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm not allowed to do this because, it's, I just thought I wasn't smart enough to do it. But so through all that, I decided to form a support network, which is, I'm no longer on that, but I'm a life member of GAIN, Gynecological Awareness Information Network. And it was through there that I shared about the ladies' letters, and I thought, nothing's happening, nothing's moving, it's still we sit on the fence and behind the door. So I rang Senator Amanda Vanstone's office, and I said, what can we do about this? And they said, we'll have a national day. And I said, how do you do that? How do you have a national day? And they said, well, you just declare it. So that's how I have declared, again at the time, but I also have my own international gynecological awareness campaign. And those who don't like it will just have to catch up. There's too many women suffering and dying, and all behind the closed doors, and it has to stop. So, and then I thought, well, I could see all the breast cancer women with their bras and, all camaraderie and all come together, and, or if you've got the vulva, just go away. You don't exist. And it was very isolated, and I still see women today feeling that way. But I wanted to also share, I hope I'm not talking to you, catching up.
Love this.
So there is this condition called lichen sclerosis, and apparently, according to Jean Hale's Women's Health, that 1 in 80 women have got lichen sclerosis, which is not a disease, an irritation of the vulva. And that's a hell of a lot of women to have an irritation. But quite often they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, thrush, thrush, thrush. And it's so easy to say, okay, take this cream, thrush. And 12 months later, oh, it's not working. And I know several ladies, especially even a woman who it's okay for me to talk about it. She was part of the Seroptimus group, which I'm part of as well. And she did amazing work for people in Bali, but she had lichen sclerosis and she died a horrific death. I know another woman on the East Coast who is suffering unbelievable at the moment. And I know other women that have died, but who cares?
So let's just clarify, is this a type of cancer?
Oh, no, okay, no. It can turn to cancer, okay? You can have this irritation, and if it's not treated properly in the beginning, because quite often the doctors still don't understand that, the complexity of this, that it can turn to cancer if not treated properly. So, it's not as if 1 in 80 women are going to get vulval cancer. But if you want this knowledge for your mothers, sisters, daughters, well, then, be empowered with the knowledge. Ask the doctor, say, what is this,
Yeah, so if you're a female and you have this irritation of your vulva and, that they treat it with, they say, oh, you've got Candida, and you do a course of that,
yeah,
but it's not going away.
Yeah.
What is the test that can tell the difference between Candida and this other irritating condition?
Okay, I have to be very careful that I'm not a doctor and I'm not to give the advice. And I do say, if you want any information, you go to Jean Hales and Jean Hales Women's Health, which I will be the Women's Health, Jean Hales Women's Health Champion in September. But I have to be wary. But I can say from what I know is that the lichen sclerosis is like a cauliflower growth on the outside of the inside of the vulva. And so, the thrush, I think, is just an irritation, but lichen sclerosis is an irritation. So I just ask, if you're really interested and want to know, go to Jean Hales to get the proper medical advice.
Yeah. All I was thinking of is, can you say to your doctor, actually, it's not going away. I've heard that there is this thing called lichen sclerosis, and can you please check it out? But like you say, if you want more information, you can go to the Jean Hales, and we'll put that link in the show notes. I'll make myself a note.
But you see, what we have to do is empower ourselves that, this is an amazing part of our body. And I'm not going to go to the doctor and sort of, I've got something down there, there's your disempowerment. If you go there and you say, I have an irritation in my vulva, I know about this. This is what Jean Hale says. Can you please check it out? It's not hard. It's just, if we've got to get rid of that shame and embarrassment. Yeah. So I thought, well, what can we do about this? And the breast cancer women had bras, and I thought, I'm going to have the gynecology. So I do workshops with these undies, and it says, know your body, have a curious mind, lift the front to see what you find. And then you lift it up, and it's got all the gynecological diagram underneath there. And and I think it's magic that but I have tried to get this out to the powers that be, and it's like, no, we don't do it that way. We read it out of a book, and this is how it's done. So I had this quilt made up by the WA quilters. I went to England to visit my son, and I had a friend from Perth, and she was over and she's done the sexology course, and she said, Kath, bring your quilt in to BBC. And I thought, as if BBC is going to be interested in, Kath Mazzella from Perth. Anyhow, so I took the quilt up to the front cover, and within a week I was on Woman's Hour with Eva Peel, who's the gynecological cancer.
I knew she was famous.
No, I'm not famous, but anyhow, it was this quilt that is doing the talking. And what I'm saying is we need to involve the community, like the quilting ladies, the knitting ladies, and I had another. I want to show you this. This is what another quilting group made, which I just adore. Look at that.
Oh, I love it.
I know. It's just totally amazing. But while these ladies are doing these things, that we're talking, and that's what I want, is the talking. It's, what happened to your mother, my sister, my daughter, my grandmother died of this, or whatever, because that's where we're going to learn from one another. We may not be learning the actual medical side of things, but we're sharing, and that's what we need to do.
And look, Kath, I totally hear you. It's just not sexy. Now, sexy might be the wrong word in this context, but I've had breast cancer. It's a big difference saying, I've had vulva cancer. It's just,
I know.
Just like, people kind of like pull back.
Yeah.
And like you say, that's why breast cancer gets so much airtime.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, this is a real thing. And we need to, just like we need to learn to check our breasts,
Yes.
We also need to learn what a normal healthy vulva is like, and if there is any changes down there, we need to know. So we do need to know, what a normal vulva is. And
I'm loving the way that you're speaking, but I've got. I was always told by the white women, don't say vulva in front of the ethnic women or the Aboriginal women, you might offend them. So I used to tiptoe around or whatever. But I was invited to Kuala Lumpur to speak to 1,000 ethnic women in Kuala Lumpur for the Seroptimus Convention. And I said to the international president, how am I going to say vulva in front of all these ethnic women? Because I was told not to say the word. And she said, but Kath, I want you to say it. And I was really nervous as anything, but I thought, I'm determined that I don't want any of those 1,000 women to suffer, or their mothers. So consequently, the Seroptimists had a regional meeting in Western Australia with all the clubs around WA, and they have decided to get their organisations to help promote the Gynecological Awareness Day, which is called the Red Knickers Day now. So we're trying to sort of take it up instead of...
Love that.
I
Yes,
know.
that's
So,
great.
so I'm working towards everybody having red knickers for that. That's the little fly that I'm trying to put together. I mean, I'm no graphic artist, and I do the best that I can with this. But I have to say that King Edward Hospital have celebrated the Gynae Day for 8 years, and they're going to work, I'm told, they're going to work on the red undies for the Gynae Awareness Day. So I mean, trying to encourage anybody here to sort of thing. But you don't have to wear undies. You could perhaps have cardboard cutout undies. Just get some funky fun undies and have a bit of fun with it. But I'm having the Gynae Day at Kings Park. So if anybody would be interested to come along on the 10th of September, we'll have a flyer ready by then. But I'm asking you to all come along and hold the undies, and let's just make a statement to say we want some changes with gynae health. But one other thing I wanted to tell you, that there is a female GP who is a lecturer at a university in Western Australia. And she had a Zoom session like this, and she said, Kath, I'm learning something from you every time I speak to you. And I think it's funny that, here I am, just your average woman, and, but how much, because we as women don't speak out about it, well, there is no education, there is no research. And I know there's a gynecological cancer research group that don't put a vulva on their diagram on their website because they don't get funding. But if I have vulval cancer and I want to go and find what research is done and there is no vulva, that's how it was in my early days. I've had to fight tooth and nail for cancer centres to even put a diagram in because I was treated like the devil herself. And I thought, I refuse to be treated this way, So it's a real challenge. Anyhow, this GP, she said now wants me to speak to 30 other GPs on a Zoom session to talk about the vulva.
Oh, so good, Kath. So good.
I know. It's so good. But you see, I cannot keep doing this on my own. And all I'm asking your audience is to perhaps get your red knickers on the 10th of September, even if you can't come along to the day, if you have it in your workplace and say, Happy Gynecological Awareness Day or Red Knickers Day. And find the ones that are brave enough, because I know my cousin took a pair of these undies to her workplace, and she asked permission to hang it behind the toilet door, and they said yes, but then a couple of days later the women said it's too confronting.
That just fascinates me.
I know.
In this day and age,
I know.
that fascinates me.
I know.
I feel quite sad about that.
Yeah.
Something like you say, like anything, caught in the early stages. And it's not like we're doing, vulva mammograms.
No.
So,
I know. So we've got to be able to be in control of this ourselves.
We need to be aware. That's right.
I wanted to show you something else that doesn't get accepted, which is, breaks my heart, because I thought, women are in the dark. So I've devised one of these paper chatterbox things. Do you remember one of those we had at school?
Yeah.
And so it's got the on the outside of it, it's got the vulva, vagina, ovary, clitoris, whatever. And then you open it up and it's got the condition in there, and you just open it up and it's one sentence. I mean, that's all we need. Somebody said my work is too simple, but we need simple language. And then you open it up to, is that the right way? Yes. You open it up and there's something to take to school to talk about and have a bit of fun about, you know?
That's brilliant.
I know. It's all sitting here waiting for women to say, hey, let's take off with this. So
yeah. And I think, Kath, you know, especially for teenage girls, that would be very attractive for teenage girls, just to raise that awareness. Yeah.
But we need to put fun into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Fun is, I agree, from a teaching perspective, it's a little bit of fun. It's way more engaging, and they're going to take it home and remember. Yeah. But
I have to tell you that my physio, she got some sashes made up for me, and and I took the sashes down to the CWA in Donnybrook, and so I've got all these little crowns, and the lady, I get 8 models, and they have a crown, and it's got I've got a fruit bowl that's shaped like a vulva, and I've got a big pink diamond that's the clitoris, and I've got a long skinny vase that's the vagina, and what else we've got? The uterus. I've got this other thing like a uterus, and long sticks with the ovaries on the end. And then we wear the sashes and wear the crown. We say, here's Miss Vagina, here's Miss Vulva, and so it was so funny. But it's a challenge to find women's organisations who've got a leader at the top who is brave enough to, like you, brave enough to sort of say, hey, we're missing a link here, ladies, let's come on board and understand. A lot of people say, oh, you can't have a fashion parade with gynecological bits because it's sensitive and intimate. Well, we have to get rid of that. You know, it is intimate, it is sensitive, but that doesn't help the women that are dying and suffering with these conditions.
No, that's right. That's right.
So it's time to celebrate and get out there and love our bodies for, you know, vulvas and all.
Yeah. Look, I am so glad that we had this interview because I had no idea. And I talked to a lot of women, you know what I mean? So, you know, that's the kind of thing, if anyone ever mentions anything like that, I'm now equipped to be able to point them in the right direction to get some more help. Yeah. And also to make it part of my conversation.
Yeah. So you're sending a shiver up my spine, you know, because you are talking like that, and you would not believe how hard this has been for me, and yet how determined that I will see is something change. But there's still such a long way to go, and if you can come along to that Gynae Awareness Day, because we did it last year and under the bell tower. And it was a freezing cold night on the 10th last year. And but all the Rochelle tribal girls, like dancing ladies, came along, and they danced around with their beautiful dresses on, and I could almost cry because I thought, these women get it. These women are not afraid of their bodies. They're not afraid to show what they are. But they even scooped up their beautiful skirts and made them shaped like a vulva. Oh my God. It's
amazing.
I know. And it's honestly so precious, the work I do. And yet there's still that, there's still a resistance, and that I don't understand why is it in this day and age, because even from a United Nations point of view, I've gone to nearly every United Nations International Women's Day, and I sit there and I wait for somebody to get up there and talk about gynecology. I have asked whether I can get up there and talk about gynecology, but then if they know I've had my vulva removed, it's like, whoa, no. If a woman has FGM, we can have a woman talking about FGM, but not having cancer of the vulva, because that might frighten people. But I'm not out to frighten them, I'm out to empower them.
Yeah. Yeah. Very. I mean, that honestly, that doesn't make sense.
Well,
because we talk about breast cancer and checking your breasts and having mammograms, and we're not frightening.
No.
We're being proactive. So we cannot see the difference.
But it's the way we've been socially programmed for such a long time. And if we can understand that and understand why where the history has come from and why the history is there and how we can break through that through the red knickers. And I think it's going to make a hell of a difference.
Yeah. Honestly, Kath, I'm just so grateful that we've had this conversation. Your tenacity is admirable. I just, hold you in such high esteem for the work that you have done and not giving up on spreading this important message.
Because if you can hear what those women go through, you'll think, nah, that doesn't happen in this day and age, but it damn well does. And it really upsets me. And that's why in the beginning I thought, I cannot live in the world where women treat each other the way they do, where men are giving it the instructions of how to take care and not to connect us up. And, it's like you're out of your tree, but it's not out of your tree. You want to connect and sort of be held and collaborate with other women, but we're kept apart. And that's got to stop, and it will stop.
Because when you're, going through something like this and let's say you've lost, both breasts, I lost a breast. All I wanted to do, Kath, during that beginning of that journey was talk to other women who had been through that.
Absolutely.
And so it is so important that if you are facing the loss of your clitoris, for goodness sake, that is massive.
I know.
You want to talk to someone who's gone through that. So
you see, I've been given 10 awards for what I do, and they sit on the shelf here and they look really lovely, but they don't mean anything to me, which doesn't sound very good, because I'm looking for the action from women. I'm looking for women to see, wow, this is really so important. So it does, as you can tell, I'm not getting any younger, and it's probably taking its toll on me. But I know this woman up in over east, and her husband has to clean her vulva out because there's no home care. There's home care, I think, for breast cancer women. There's everything for breast cancer women, and for the husband to clean this woman's vulva out, which is absolutely agonizing. And if she wants to go and have treatment, because she's got lymphedema and all her legs are all blown up, and it's a real damn mess. And I sort of think, where's the sisterhood when these women, even this one of the sisterhood women died at Seroptimus, and they all know she died. They all know she died from lichen sclerosis and vulval cancer. But that's why I keep driving this. I say, well, we can't just say, oh yes, that's a sad story. We have to do something about it. So better calm down. I'm kidding. Because
what you're saying, we do need to wrap up. But what you're saying is this can be detected earlier.
Absolutely.
And like anything, early detection and early treatment is always, preferable.
Absolutely. So don't be like me. In the beginning, I just took it at face value that they knew what it was all about. But I put that responsibility back on myself because I chose not to have the information because my doctor will take care of me. I haven't got time to, I'm busy with kids and stuff like that. But I should have taken on board, not that I'm feeling guilty, but what I'm trying to say is you take the knowledge on board so that you can help prevent it with your mother, sister, daughter.
That's right. And I think whatever the issue is, we always have to be our own advocates.
Absolutely.
I really encourage women to be their own advocates.
Absolutely.
You have to get informed. And then, in many ways, that helps the doctor as well.
Absolutely.
If you go with some, information and say, I'd like you to check this out, or I've done some research, most are grateful.
Yeah.
So, and they have so much responsibility and, so many things to learn that's wonderful.
But it's the stigma that holds all this back. So let's break the stigma and the barriers, and then we can all work together. So
absolutely.
But on that note, I'd like to say Viva la vulva to you all.
Awesome. Thank you, Kath, so much. This has been so informing, and I will put all of your information in the show notes, and people will be able to get in contact with you or check out all of your resources. And fabulous.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.